Hey, good afternoon, folks. It is Monday afternoon, and we are in week 6. And as promised, this is the lecture recording for chapter 14, exploring social media and e-business. And so what I'll do is I'm going to post this. I'll send you a link to this, and then you all can watch this. And then come to the required Zoom meeting on Wednesday of this week, and it'll be a much shorter version, and it'll just be covering some of the really more higher topics, and then you can ask any questions that you have about this. I will also be sharing a PowerPoint presentation on that day from previous students who had done the group work. So let's go ahead and get started. So first of all, here's some of the numbers on the popularity of social media. First of all, it was funny. 8 years ago when I came to Point Loma, I think was the first time that I actually had a company reach out to me and ask if I knew any students that could come help them do social media content for their companies. And I was a little taken aback. I thought, okay, so you're wanting to hire students to come, play on social media. And it was just in its infant stages where companies were really understanding how powerful it was. And there were so many more users coming on to, to Facebook, and it was relatively new, and, Twitter. And so, and Pinterest at that time. And so companies were really looking to take advantage of those platforms to drive their business. And now it's growing even more, just with more platforms joining the space, and then Facebook growing, Instagram growing, and so it's just become much more relevant as a day-to-day task for marketing and digital media professionals. So interactions, so social media is the interactions that allow people and businesses to communicate. Kind of all knew that. Here's a recent Pew Internet Research study on U.S. adults who use the internet. 79% are active on Facebook, 32% use Instagram, 31% are on Pinterest, 29% are on LinkedIn, 24% are on Twitter. Now, these are not too out to date, but I think they're last year, so there may be some change in this. The one thing I will say is, and I think I've said this last week maybe, most of you are not on Facebook, and that's okay. Most of you are on other forms of social media, whether it be TikTok or Snapchat or Instagram or Twitter. But I will tell you this, your customers and the customers of the companies that you're going to be working for are all on Facebook. And so you really need to understand that even though you may not utilize Facebook as a social media platform, many of the people who buy are. So you can obviously see that 79%. So it's really important that you still understand Facebook, understand its power, understand how to navigate through it, and understand some of the data that you can extract from Facebook to better serve your company or the company you're going to work for. Here's some of the reasons why companies feel that social media is important. So while there are many reasons a business uses social media, the number one reason is that social media generates increased exposure. So 89%, increased traffic, 75%, 68% of companies want to develop loyal fans, and they feel they can do that through social media. They can also, 66%, provide marketplace insight, right? They can go in, they can look and see, who's following it, how many clicks they're getting, how many likes they're getting, how many of those likes or clicks turn into actual purchases. They can get all that insight from different platforms. They can generate leads, and then they can improve their search rankings. In the end, the main reason that companies are online or the companies are using social media is, one, to generate likes, to generate followers, and then to see how those followers eventually turn into purchases. Okay, click to purchase is, for those of you going into marketing, click to purchase or search engine optimization, or Google AdWords. All of those metrics you will find are going to be very important to understand how your company's either successfully or not successfully utilizing social media and their web presence. Photos, videos, and podcasts. Media sharing sites allow users to upload, right? Photo sharing provides a method for a company to tell a compelling story about its products. Videos have the ability to tell stories. Podcasts, those are obviously digital audio or video files that people listen to or watch online on tablets. So the big thing is here, the thing I want you to get out of this is pictures sell, right? Where words tell, right? We don't want to tell people things. We want to show people things. Let's see. I'm going to go back here. There are studies that have been done that a picture will drive people to engage with a story or engage with a website much more than words. So if you look at some of the new websites out there, you will find there's a lot of media content on them. There's a lot of photos in there, not a lot of word content. It just doesn't drive the business. People don't want to read anymore. They want to see, right? They want to experience. And so this is where the media sharing, the video sharing, and the photo sharing comes into play. And then podcasts are obviously, if any of you engage in listening to podcasts, you find they're very effective. So many executives, so the crisis, reputation management, many executives believe that social media can help a company recover from a crisis. Again, last week I talked about the Gap when they changed their logo, and all of a sudden they did what they call social media listening. They actually had people watching social media platforms to see what the response was, and it was immediately negative. And so what they did is they wound up understanding this wasn't going to work, and so they switched back. And so they can use this, during a crisis. Companies can use social media to ask questions, to reassure the public. And so that's exactly what happened. They basically said, hey, we're going to go back. This is, so that's what they did. It was a lot of Twitter uproar that really drove that process. And then finally present positive information. Employees should be trained in social media etiquette, monitor social media sites. That's that social media listening piece. There are people out there on which I'll show you on Wednesday. There are sites called TwitReach or HubSpot or Hootsuite that you can use to actually monitor social media, listen to social media, see what people are saying, and then adjust your marketing strategy based on that. Okay, so it's a really important characteristic. Targeting customers. Many companies are using social media to increase awareness and build their brand. Obviously, especially valuable to you all. And actually, you're not millennials. You're the next one coming up, I think Gen Z. But for millennials, very tech savvy. You are all very tech savvy. You are all on social media. You are all on your devices. And so companies understand in order to build their brand, they need to be there with you. Okay. Social media marketing. This is one of those things where there's too many words there. It's too much reading. So I'll just tell you, it's the utilization of software and the internet to provide information about a firm's products and services. Companies are shifting towards this type of advertising as opposed from traditional like television, magazine, because really nobody watches TV much anymore. Okay, nobody reads magazines anymore. More people are tuned in to Netflix or streaming services, Hulu or Sling TV, and the opportunity for commercials is much limited there, particularly on Netflix. And so they understand that you're there and you're also on your device, whether again it's on social, on Snapchat or some sort of social media platform. So if they want to get their message out to their target customers, they pick the right social media channel. Okay, and so again, I've expressed this to you all. I get, and just like you get, I get all the time bombarded with, and I wouldn't say bombarded because I actually don't mind having people, having companies, post ads on my social media platforms. And so I think it's kind of a service because they know what I want. And so it's easier for me to shop that way. And so they'll do the same thing to you, but they're going to be different products because I'm old and you're young. And so that being said, I'm going to get, solar services or home improvement services or, new trucks, new cars. And you might get, different digital or tech devices or clothes. And it's going to come in different ways. But the main thing is companies are shifting. What I want you to understand, companies are shifting from this TV, print, radio spots to more, let's just, engage with our customers through social media because that's where they're at. Okay. Inbound marketing is basically a term that describes new ways of gaining attention and ultimately customers by creating web content that pulls the customers in. It's much more passive. We put it out on the internet and then customers come directly to you as opposed to being out there, selling. It's only one aspect of digital marketing. SEO, this is something you're going to learn about. Christian Kahlberg in her class. SEO, search engine optimization, using keywords in a website. We're going to go over this as well. I'm going to show you what it looks like to do SEO and just the results of that. Use Google Analytics, Google AdWords. Really understand what words are driving companies to my site and how can we increase that. Search engine marketing, that's buying ads like Google's AdWords to increase traffic, right? Display advertising, those are banner ads within the internet and within social media. And then email marketing, targeting customers through opt-in email campaigns. Recruiting employees, this is another really great way to use social media. And I'm not going to call it social media because LinkedIn is not social media. LinkedIn is more along the lines of social networking. Okay. Don't want to see kittens posted on LinkedIn. I want to see business opportunities. I want to see business information from the companies that I'm following. And so this is a really good way to recruit employees, though, is through definitely social media sites and social networking sites. So how do you build a social media plan? You listen to determine opportunities. You establish the social media objectives. You segment and target your social media customer. You select social media tools, and then you implement and integrate the plan. So, again, if it's you, most of the times the companies that are trying to sell to you are not going to be on Facebook. And so it's much more strategic to, again, understand who your target market is, listen to what their needs are, and then devise the plan as opposed to just, doing it and then understanding that doesn't work. Okay. And this is how we measure and adapt a social media plan, right? The first thing we looked at is quantitative social media measurement. That's using the numerics, such as counting the number of website visits, the number of fans, the number of likes, the number of leads generated. In the end, it's all about turning clicks into cash, right? Turning likes into customers. And so what you want to understand is if I post something, it could get 1,000 likes. If I post a video and I get 1,000 likes, well, that's great. But in the end, how did that translate into revenue? Okay. And so what you want to understand is, if I post something and it's a video and it gets, 500 clicks, and from that 500 clicks, I've realized $10,000 in revenue. Okay, well, let's measure that against another video that we posted. And what you want to understand at that point is, okay, so where am I posting? If I'm posting on Facebook, if I'm posting on Snapchat, if I'm posting on Instagram, which ones are generating the most likes, the most clicks, and then those translating into revenue. The other thing that's really big within the quantitative space is, and we'll talk just a little bit about it on Wednesday, is empty carts. So I know many of you have shopped online in, you've gone through the process of putting items into your cart, and maybe the cart gets wind up abandoned. Maybe you decide you don't want to buy it. That's a big key measurement. Cart, right? Empty versus actual revenue coming in. And so a lot of companies look at, okay, so people put items into their cart, but they actually didn't wind up purchasing them. Okay, so why is that? So they're going to look at that information. Okay, we'll talk a little bit more about that Wednesday. KPIs, key performance indicators. Those are measurements that define and measure the progress of an organization towards achieving its objectives. KPIs are huge in, sorry, that is an ambulance. KPIs are huge in any time you're looking at revenue generation, right? What are the key performance indicators? In my old industry, it was you got to hit 100 calls a week, 10 client visits a week, and 10 candidate interviews a week. If you do that, that's right. We've found over a long period of time that those key numbers, those key metrics, usually will equate to a success. So if you do them, you should be successful. If you don't do them, then we're going to have a conversation. Same thing here. We need to look at, okay, click numbers. We track unfulfilled cart, when you put items into your cart. We look at those are KPIs. We look at likes KPIs. We look at the number of posts we've had. Those are KPIs. We take all that information and understand if we do this, then that should result in this. Okay? And usually this is increased revenue. And then there's the qualitative. Those are just the things that people say, right? The process of assessing the opinions and beliefs about a brand. So again, going back to Gap, when they changed their logo, people were up in arms. People were saying things. And it was enough people that it made them revert back. And so qualitative is just listening. That's that whole understanding. What are people saying about my brand? What are people saying about, this new product we have? And you have to listen to that as well. Again, that's that social media listening piece. You can get paid to sit at home, right now sit at home, but sit in an office and listen to social media all day. And then sentiment analysis is a measurement that uses technology to detect the mood, attitudes, and emotions of people who experience social media activity. E-business. This is kind of old. You all, I'm sure, know this. The organized effort of individuals to produce and sell for profit the goods and services that satisfy society's needs. Even more so than ever before, e-business is growing. And it's funny because last year was like, oh, of course e-business is growing. And it was growing. But now, with the advent of COVID, e-business is getting even bigger and taking over more brick and mortar stores. Okay? And so, at what point do we finally, do we realize that, we've tipped this to where, brick and mortar is still important and relevant, but we're leaning closer to full e-business, with the advent of all the food delivery companies and, Uber, and, Amazon and Walmart, online, and you can buy anything online now. And so at what point are we going to just tip to where commercial real estate is, retail space is just no more? And so those are things to think of. Or your retail space shrinks, and now a Starbucks doesn't even, all they have is a drive-through. They don't even have an in-person, or they've got just Uber Eats coming to deliver. And you've got this shrinking commercial space. I don't know. But right now, e-business is booming. Okay? And then mobile marketing, communicating with and selling to customers through mobile devices. So still in a tricky situation here because a lot of people still don't feel comfortable. They feel comfortable here again. If I buy on my computer, I feel pretty safe that or pretty reassured that my computer, my credit card is pretty safe. And we're getting closer to that with your phone. But there's still a lot of people who are hesitant to purchase from their phone, even though, I don't know, I'll bring the numbers. I got to write this down to make sure I have the numbers of people who actually have handheld devices. number of people with phones. It's a staggering number. You'll be surprised. I was surprised. It is a staggering number of the number of people that actually have handheld devices. And a lot of times, though, that's where a lot of shopping carts get left with items to purchase. What they'll do is they'll put it in their cart here, and then they'll go to home and maybe purchase it there. Or when they get home, they realize, I was kind of impulsive. Why did I want that on my phone? I wasn't going to buy it anyway, and so they delete it. Although now, especially with Amazon, I have the app. You just click the app, find what you want, one swipe, purchase. That has done a lot. You don't even put it into your cart anymore. There is no cart. One swipe purchase has made mobile purchasing much more convenient. A lot of times, the reason these shopping carts were left full of items is because the process was so difficult. The process to actually purchase was so difficult. Think about getting your C-Line dollars. For me, you have to go through. I have to put my credit card in every time, and this and that, and it's such a pain. When companies realized they needed to make the process for purchasing easier, that's when all of a sudden people started purchasing more with their mobile devices. Again, the one swipe purchase for Amazon is key. Combining e-business and resources. So here, this is what the new world's going to look like. We have, human resources. Now with more and more advent of e-business and social media, you're going to, have to hire, more site designers, more programmers, more webmasters, more social media digital marketing professionals, more graphic designers, okay? Material resources, you're going to need more computers, more software, definitely more high-speed internet connection lines, particularly with Zoom. You all know how bad that is, and so trying to get Zoom working without high-speed internet is crazy. Informational resource, we need to understand our customers, so we need to implement more customer tracking systems. Order fulfillment and tracking systems. Again, the order fulfillment piece is that things left in the shopping cart, okay? Online content monitoring systems. I'm going to go back. And then financial resources. We need more investors interested in supporting e-business and electronic payment from customers. This is the big one, right? I saw a commercial yesterday about how we need to do away with all cash currency, all paper and coin currency. And now there's this huge movement to really push for the digital currency, the Bitcoins and such. And so we'll see. I don't know. Creating e-business profit. The great thing about e-business is the overhead is so low. You don't need a warehouse. You don't need, a space to house your salespeople. All you need is a computer and an idea, and you can make this happen, right? Again, I have many students who go out and they purchased items cheap in China through Alibaba, and then they get them shipped here, and then they resell them on eBay or on Amazon. And it's a nice little cottage industry for themselves. It's a nice little, bit of revenue that they can get while they're here in school. And so the barriers to entry to e-business are pretty minimal. And so if you look here at the increased sales revenue, ways to increase the revenue, one way to increase is to sell merchandise on the internet, of course. Intelligent information, using the information the system can assist the customers the next time he or she visits the website. And then the existence of the firm's website may lead to increased sales in their physical stores. So if I go to Target.com and I want to buy something, I'm like, I'm actually going to be over at Target Mission Valley, next week. Maybe I'll just purchase it there. I don't want to wait to have it shipped to me. And then reducing expensive. There's no electricity, pretty much. There's no, supply chain needs. There's no personnel needs. You just, again, turn on your computer, build your website, and go, right? And then business to business, same thing. When examining business to business firms, two clear types emerge. In the first type, the focus is simply on facilitating sales transactions between businesses. The second and more complex involves a company and its suppliers. Suppliers use the internet to bid on products and services they wish to sell to customers and learn about the customer's rules and procedures that follow. Basically, they've streamlined the process for you to bid on work. And so, it's a lot easier. And then business to consumer, a model used by firms that focus on conducting business with individual customers or consumers. So here's the internet growth potential. This is pretty updated. So about 3.7 billion of the 7.5 billion people in the world have the internet. 89% of the U.S. population uses the internet. That may be more now, particularly with the advent of COVID. So if you included all the kindergartners now using and preschoolers now using Zoom to just do their classwork, this could be a lot higher. If you want to come to class with this new number, that'd be great. Potential growth in the United States is limited just because of the amount of people we have. And so, On the other hand, the number of internet users in the world's developing countries is expected to increase dramatically. India, China, Pakistan, right? South America, the developing countries have a lot more room to grow. And so they are growing. Experts predict that the number of companies using e-business to increase sales and reduce expenses will continue to increase. This is before COVID, right? If they would have said that, these experts, I know they didn't expertly predict that a pandemic would hit, but the fact that one has hit, obviously e-commerce numbers have exploded. I'm going to pull up new numbers and then we'll go over those on Wednesday. Here are some of the ethic and legal concerns. Unauthorized computerized tracking of users once they are connected. A cookie, when you say, hey, delete cookies in your system, or if it says enable cookies, a small piece of software that tracks your usage. So you have to be aware of that. Data mining, this is the practice again of going on to Facebook and taking all your information and then selling it, and then next thing you know, you're getting pop-up ads for all the things that you've searched. Okay. And then employers monitor employees' computer usage. That's always happened, I think. There's always been ways of doing that. But also now, again, like I stated, when we first started the semester and started looking at LinkedIn, companies actually making hiring decisions based on your social media platforms, what you use, what you post. And so companies can access that information and then make a hiring decision based on that, whether it's legal or not. They don't have to tell you that's why they didn't hire you, but that's real. I'm just telling you about what's real. And so that's big. And then internet crime, obviously malware, identity theft, and fraud. You need to be absolutely aware of that. And that's it. So, I think the main things that we're going to talk about are just the numbers, what it looks like right now since COVID. So there's been a little bit change in the numbers, but just understanding that, social media is still relatively new. Okay. And the job of social media monitor, social media listener, or digital marketing professional, or e-commerce professional, those are all relatively new jobs. And so for you, the students that I had 8 years ago who were just moving into those weren't even there when I first started, and now they're everywhere. So for you, think about this: what are the jobs that potentially will be open, the new jobs, the new industries, the new roles that'll be opening up when you graduate? I always tell students, the job you take potentially may not even be invented yet. And this is real proof of that. And so anyway, so just think about that, and then think about how social media makes an impact on you as a consumer, how social media impacts you potentially as an entrepreneur one day, and then as the company you work for. Still lots of opportunity for growth in this industry and in this segment of business. And so Yeah, it's ever changing and ever growing, and so just be aware of that. Have a great day. I will get this to you, get it posted, and then I will see you all on Wednesday. Have a great rest of your day today, and let me know if you have any questions.